There is a case where there being concentration as a factor for awakening present within. It discerns that concentration as a factor for awakening is present within me. Or there being no concentration as a factor for awakening present within. It discerns that concentration as a factor for awakening is not present within me. It discerns how there is the arising of unarisen concentration as a factor for awakening. And it discerns how there is the culmination of development of concentration as a factor for awakening once it has arisen. So, dear noble friends, we have gathered here for our usual weekly session on Wednesdays. After practicing 1.5 hours mindful walking and mindful sitting, we are taking few minutes, about an hour or so, for listening supportive factor and the discussion supportive factor. For listening supportive factor, we have selected 4 foundations of mindfulness discourse, and we have almost come to the end of it. And this is the penultimate chapter on the section of phenomena, where the Blessed One is discussing the factors for awakening. And he is not, in fact, discussing the factors for awakening. He is explaining the phenomena of them, or the nature of them, or is explaining that even those factors for awakening are not things that will be there permanently, are not things that you can hold on to as you wish, right? And only thing when you develop them, you see is when they are there, they are there. When they are not there, you will be aware of it. And once again, unarisen concentration or any other factor for awakening is arising, and you know that it is arising. And after arisen, there will have instances because of your continuous practice, constant practice, and it developed into the culmination. And in that manner, you progress in the path of the Buddha, understanding that things are changing, understanding that things are not me, understanding that things are not mine. So with that understanding, when you continue, you will be not just developing the factors for enlightenment, you will be understanding their nature as well. So before, or to give emphasis on their nature, what we have mainly been concentrating is on these factors, to understand what these factors are. So there are 7 factors of enlightenment that the teaching or the Blessed One has explained. The 7 factors, their Pali terms are Sati Sambojjhanga. Sambojjhanga means the factors for enlightenment. So Sati Sambojjhanga, Sati means mindfulness as a factor for awakening. Dhamma Vichaya Sambojjhanga, which means investigation of states. And Virya Sambojjhanga, which means energy as a factor for awakening. Next is Priti Sambojjhanga, that is rapture as a factor for awakening. Passaddhi Sambojjhanga, which is tranquility or serenity as a factor for awakening. And Samadhi Sambojjhanga, which is concentration as a factor for awakening. And the last one, which we are yet to discuss. So I will work with one device. We have been discussing concentration as a factor for awakening, which is Samadhi Sambojjhanga. And we have been told in Mindfulness in Breathing discourse that these factors for awakening are developing in a sequential manner, that there is a direct relationship, linear relationship in these factors for awakening. And this starts with the first one, which is Sati Sambojjhanga. In other words, mindfulness as a factor for awakening. And the Blessed One says, when you have unremitting mindfulness, firm mindfulness, and that is Sati Sambojjhanga, mindfulness as a factor for awakening. So when you have that firm mindfulness, what happens is you are able to get more closer to your object, which is either breathing or walking or any other thing that you do in your day-to-day life. So mindfulness is a mental state where you don't do anything but simply observe. So just because of your observation, and since your observation is so firm and sharp, you start seeing, you get an opportunity to examine and get into detail of things that you have not seen when you are reacting. Right? So that is called investigation of states. And that happens just because of your unremitting mindfulness. So if you allow this investigation of states or to come to the surface of the things that you have not seen in the past, and you are not bewildered by what you experience, then that develops another mental quality, which is called energy, right? These are things that you have not seen. These are experiences that you may not have experienced in the past. Say, for example, very simple example, when you are observing your breath becomes subtler, right? So when breath becomes subtler, you don't call ambulance. You don't call your home visit doctor, but you observe. And to do that, you need, that's an investigation of a state that is arising. And for that to unfold, you need energy. And that energy is called Viryang Nasallina in Pali. And the closest English translation that I liked was tireless energy. You just let it happen. And when this tireless energy is aroused, the Blessed One says that leads to rapture. What rapture? Unworldly rapture arises. Unworldly rapture means now your senses are not at work. Your ear faculty, eye faculty, nose, tongue, the body are not at work. So they are the worldly areas. They are the worldly faculties. Those faculties are temporarily locked down, shut down. But you are dwelling into an area which you have not experienced in the past, and that is giving you some rapture. And that rapture or the bodily phenomena is coming because of the energy that you develop for the new investigation to take place. So this rapture, which we have discussed in detail, the types of raptures and how this rapture arises, that unworldly rapture or the bodily manifestation of the mental relaxation is continuing as a result of the continuation of observation of the rapture, even even that rapture progress into another stage. And the Blessed One says, such a rapturous mind, or in one who is rapturous, the body and the mind becomes tranquil. When the rapture is there, you don't try to meddle with things. The rapture is arising because of the mental relaxation, and you continue, you allow that mental relaxation to continue. As a result, rapture become more and more disciplined, rapture become more and more tranquil, the bodily manifestation, and similarly, mind also becomes sharper in observing this bodily manifestation. So it is, in Pali it says, Priti manassa kaya api passambati chittam passambati, which means when your mind is happy, your body becomes tranquil and the mind also becomes tranquil. And on that occasion, the body and the mind become tranquil, and that situation is called tranquility as a factor for awakening. So this tranquility as a factor for awakening, or the body and mind tranquility, is an evolution in the mind, because mind is now more and more getting used to appreciate moving forward by giving up unworldly rapture that you have developed from the practice. Initially, you develop unworldly rapture by bringing your attention to the object that you are observing, and then after some time, the object that you are observing may disappear. But just because it disappears, you won't get agitated. You feel that a disappearance of the object, this disappearance of your focal point, is a disappearance of a friction that you have, and you mentally become free of something that you had to maintain. So now the mind is developing a faculty, or mind is developing another facet of the mind, which is giving up, which is letting things go. So mind is getting used to appreciate, therefore, the least frictional path. This appreciation leads to higher level of sensitivity. High level of sensitivity means your mind is with the body, and you are able to observe your body at a deeper layer than before. And it is not only your body, even the mental changes are very quickly observed, very quickly understood, very quickly related to. So that is the development of your sensitivity, feeling bodily and mental changes much faster and earlier than before. So that quick understanding of the bodily and mental changes gives the opportunity to someone to prevent any negativities and improve patience and efficiencies. For example, when you are sick, and if you feel that your throat is itchy, you can immediately take some hot water and salt water and then do some gargle, and then you will be able to do take some basic remedial action, right? But if you feel that only when your nose is running, then it is too late. You're already sick. So it is just for the body. Similarly for the mind, when your mind sensitivity is high, before the mind really becomes agitated, you may be able to see that the seed is now springing. Now seed is now trying to bring the plant out. It is going to sprout out, right? So because of this high sensitivity, you may be able to get close to any negativity that may arise. It may be bodily negativity or it may be mental negativity. So when you are able to see that, you can prevent those negativities and improve patience and efficiency. This is very interesting for the business world, and they love it. They want to improve patience and efficiency, and that will be very interesting for their bottom line. So therefore, they have given commercial phase to the mindfulness, and they have concentrated on these byproducts of being mindful, and in the process, quality of mindfulness has been compromised. Mindfulness is not something to something to make our products or provide our service. Mindfulness is a way of living, and it is to liberate ourselves from the suffering, right? So this increase in efficiency due to tranquility is just a byproduct, right? So anyway, we are proceeding because what we do is the simple observation, and that is what the Blessed One is saying. Even this tranquility is not permanent. Tranquility will be there, and then you know that it is there. Tranquility will not be there, then you are aware of it. But for those who make it a commercial product, when it disappears, they will have to commit suicide. Or they will have to look for something else. And then they fall to fire from the pan. So if you continue the way the Blessed One is saying, then you will not get hooked even onto tranquility, as is happening in the business world. Another factor for enlightenment is arising, and that is called concentration. And we discussed a little bit of this. And the definition of concentration as a factor for awakening is also given in this mindfulness of breathing discourse, and that is a direct result of tranquility. And it says, for one who is tranquil or serene, his body calmed, the mind becomes concentrated. When the mind of one who is tranquil, his body calmed, becomes concentrated, then concentration as a factor for awakening is aroused. So when the body and the mind is calm, then the Blessed One says, when it is not agitated, that is what I call concentration. And that is the concentration that takes you to the final liberation. So if we take what we discussed last time, initially in your sitting practice, when you bring your attention to the breath, initially you will see long breath, and then it becomes shorter, and you continue to observe. When you continue to observe, it becomes subtler, right? So once it becomes subtler, you don't just panic and make it gross again or long again. You become more and more alert and attentive. Keep observing. When you keep observing, you will have to be very sharp to see the breath. So you will be observing, if you are observing your abdomen, more closely. If you are observing your chest, you will be observing your chest more closely. If you are observing your nostril, you will observe your nostril or entrance of the nostril very closely, or anywhere else, you will do it very closely and attentive. So as a result, what you do is your mind becomes more close to the body, right? So what the Blessed One does is, using the breath as a vehicle, it drives your attention, your mind to the body. So then, since your mind is going into the body with the breath, which is subtle, and you may feel now more of the body than the breath. When the breath goes in, this entire machine gets activated. And it is happening every fraction of a second, no matter what we do, so long as we live. Right? So there are lots and lots of bodily formations that are happening, and you will be able to observe them. So it's not only observe them, you continue to observe those things, and then what happens is you can see even those bodily formations are getting calm. Initially, when you see the bodily formations, it's like long breath and short, long breath and rust breath, and it's very, very active. You feel that you are very hyperactive. But when you continue to observe, that itself becomes subtler and subtler and subtler. And the breathing mindfulness discourse says, and even in Four Foundations of Mindfulness discourse, it says, he breathes in, calming the bodily formation. He breathes out, calming bodily formation. So not only your breath, even your bodily formations are getting calmer and calmer and calmer. You don't care. What you do is, you know that it is happening, you just let it happen and continue. And that is how you get concentrated in sitting, if you are simply observing the breath. And it is not compulsory. Maybe your attention is not only with the breath. It moves. When you have some pain, it goes to a pain. When you have some thought, it goes to a thought. When you have some sound, it goes to a sound. But still, whatever the object, your bodily formations are not getting agitated. Even the other objects that you take your attention to are not getting agitated. Even they are becoming calmer and calmer because of your concentration. So the other things around are there, but your calmness will not be affected. So as a result, it becomes concentration as a factor for awakening. So it is not compulsory for you to have your attention just only on one object if you are concentrated. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is the bodily formations or any other object that comes under your attention are getting calm. So when that happens, you are concentrated, right? And the same thing is happening even in walking. Initially, when you start walking at the speed of highway, very fast, up and down. And a few minutes later, it becomes very quiet, very slow, and sometimes you even forget to walk, and your walking becomes very unsteady. You may walk like a drunken person. So that is because you are settling. Your walking is getting calm. So these are happening since mind is sharper and serene, right? So today, this is all what we have discussed so far, a quick summary. Today, we are going to discuss, as we have discussed in the other factors for awakening. For each of these factors for awakening, there is some nutriment, there is some food that is necessary. So even for the concentration, there is some nutriment that is necessary, and which is given in a discourse called Ahara Sutta, or we call it food or nutriment discourse. So that discourse says, and what is lack of food for the arising of unarisen concentration as a factor for awakening, or for the growth and increase of concentration once it has arisen. There are the themes of tranquility, themes of non-destruction, not fostering frequent attention to the beginning of them, right? So I know it doesn't make any sense. These are the what do you call nutriment or the food that the discourse is recommending to improve your concentration as a factor for awakening. So in Pali, it is called Samatha Nimittang, Abhyagga Nimittang, Yoniso Manasikara Bahuli Karoti. So we will split what the discourse says and go into a bit of detail and try to understand these nutriments that are necessary. The important points that the discourse giving is, and it is talking about a theme, right? Theme for two things. One is theme for tranquility. So in your practice, there will have a theme for tranquility. And the other thing that is necessary is a theme for non-distraction. Theme for tranquility means samatha nimittam. And theme for non-distraction is abhyagga nimittam. Right? So it's when we take the word nimittam, it's not exactly a theme. It is a sign, or it is a pointer, or it's a condition, or it's a state. It's a feature for tranquility. So there are no direct translation of these words into English. So the best I could find was the theme, but I have given the other words as well, so that you will be able to understand it a bit more better. So there will have some sign of tranquility, and there will have some sign or the pointer for non-distraction. So when these two things are there, or if you have at least one of them, what is important is not just having it. The Blessed One says, Yoniso Manasikara Bahuli Karoti. Yoniso Manasikara Bahuli Karoti means, Yoniso means the beginning. Bahuli Karoti means frequent. And Yoniso Manasikara means fostering. So you will have to foster your attention to the beginning. How many times? Billions of times. Do it all the time. Do it very frequent. And when that happens, what happens? There's driving the attention to the beginning so many times to those themes of tranquility or theme of non-distraction, then you will master it. And as a result of mastering over a period of time, you will be getting more and more concentrated, because you are going to the deeper layer of the tranquility, deeper layer of non-distraction. So when the distractions happen, you are able to see it. As a result, it will not progress, because you are putting the pesticide, which is called the mindfulness, and it will not grow thereafter to disturb you. And when you have the tranquility factor, when you observe that the tranquility is developing, you just observe. So it doesn't disappear. So it is appearing and it develops. So far as the non-distraction is concerned, it is developing, and tranquility as well is developing. Let me say, yes. It says abhyagga, non-distraction. Yes, both these factors. When you go to the deeper layer, if a distraction is arising, then you are able to see it, and as a result, it becomes a non-distraction. All right. So we will take the first one, which is fostering frequent attention to the themes of tranquility. That is, samatha nimittang yoniso manasikara bahuli karoti. So in that, the features of the theme of tranquility, the teaching is giving few points, few states of the mind that should be there for the fostering of the mind, frequent fostering to the themes of tranquility. And the Pali terms, I will just read out the Pali terms first. First one, it says Khalla Chitta. The next one is Mudu Chitta. And the next is Udagga Chitta. And the next is Pasanna Chitta. And the last one is Vinivarana Chitta. So there are 5 states, 5 facets of the mind, which lets you to get to the theme of tranquility. So when these mind states are there, then you are, when you develop these things, you are getting closer to the tranquility. So we'll take one by one and try to understand to the best of our ability, depending on our knowledge on the previous explanation and the practice. So Khalla Chittang means stable or matured mind. So in other words, prepared mind, well-prepared mind. That is called Khalla Chitta. So you have been practicing for such a long time, and maybe in this life or maybe in previous lives, we don't know. There are some little children, they just come and sit. When they come and sit, it is so beautiful to see, they sit like Buddha and absolutely unmoved, motionless. So which means it is not something they have learned in this life. They have brought it from previous life. So therefore, when I say you have practiced for so long, it is not necessary to be from the time you started this practice. It may have come from a long time and you may have that seed within you. So that seed can be seen when you start your practice. So if I give you an example, when you start the practice and your mind is not stable, your mind is not mature, you are getting affected by each and everything happening, whatever is happening at home, whatever is happening with the husband, whatever happening with the partner, whatever happening in the office, whatever happening, everything is affecting you. But when you keep on practicing and when you develop your mindfulness, your mind matures and it does not come on a silver plate. You will have to do the hard yarn. So with that, what naturally happens is the mind matures, and it says that is the preparation, and that is Khalla Chitta. And the example that is given is well-prepared field to sow paddy. So before the paddy, in the paddy season, before they sow paddy, what they do is they prepare the field. When they prepare the field, after the previous harvest has been cut, they don't remove everything. What they do is they just plow them. They just turn the soil upside down, and then put cows and whatever moisturizing necessary, and they allow water to come in, and then they mix all this soil, a mud field. So once everything has been mixed together using cows and using there's a special thing called nagula. I don't know how to the term that is used. Is it plow? I don't know. You use that and then prepare the field. So once you prepare the field, that field is very ready to get the seeds. So that is called Khalla Chitta. So when you have Khalla Chitta, then when your mind is ready, next is Mudu Chitta. In Mudu Chitta, what happens is your mind is now flexible enough. You are not fighting now. Since because of your maturity, it is flexible enough. It doesn't break very fast. So it's like whatever happens, you don't care, right? It's like when you pour water into a container, water takes the shape of the container. So it is so flexible. But if you put some stones, the stones will not take the shape of the container because it is so hard. Right? There will be a lot of gaps in the container. But when you have mudu chitta, tender or flexible mind, you get used to the situation. Okay, it is very warm. Doesn't matter, I just go and practice. Or it is very cold, doesn't matter, I just go and practice. You are flexible enough. So that is called mudhuchitta. So before going on to the other mind state, I will post this. All right. So the next mind phase is udagga chitta. Udagga chitta means clear and well energized. Since you have practiced, since you have a well-prepared, matured, and flexible mind, you are able to avoid unnecessary confusions. You are able to avoid unnecessary panic taking place in your mind. You will not be unnecessarily agitated. So therefore, you are able to see things very clearly. And the mind will be very energized to go through things and see things very clearly. So, and that mind is called udagga chitta. And it's like a well-trained soldier knows what to do. A sniper is so trained, and he doesn't get panic. He is, if he is given a job, he will ensure that job is done to the best of his ability because of his training. So that is the type of training we get. We have so many enemies in the practice. We have so many disturbances, so many distractions. But when your mind becomes clearer and clearer, it becomes more and more energized. As a result, you will be able to keep your mind steady. And even that helps to foster your mind to the tranquility state. So we are discussing the food, the necessary mind nutriments to improve this tranquility thing, and not only just have them and get used to them, foster them many times, as much as possible, right? So the other one, next item that is given is pasanna chitta. Pasanna chitta means you do all these things with a big smile on your face as well as in the heart. Right? You don't do these things just because you are asked to do by the teacher. Just because you are compelled to do because you are maintaining the timetable. You are doing it wholeheartedly. You are doing it with a pleasant mind, irrespective of the outcome. You don't look for any result out of it. Only thing you want is, I have just done my walking, I have just done my sitting. That's it. No objective to achieve. So that that mentality of giving up itself is bringing you a lot of joy and the pleasantness to your mind, because you don't expect anything, because you don't have anything to achieve, any goal to achieve. So it's like when your mind becomes pasanna chitta, it's like your mind becomes like an infant who is well fed and sleeping nicely. That is how when your mind is so joyous, right? You know, infants, when they're hungry, what mothers do is give a good shower and then feed them and put some powder and put them to sleep. They sleep very well. And the mind also become joyous like that. In fact, it's not the child who is joyful when that happens. A mother seeing such a child will have a very pleasant mind, and she will be very joyful. So our mind also will become very joyful when we don't have any expectations as such from walking and sitting, and that itself is taking a lot of trouble away. And all these things finally will lead to Vinivarana Chitta. Vinivarana Chitta means a mind that is free from hindrances. Now, everything else that is spoke above are usually affected by it. Maybe Kala Chittang or Madhu Chittang or Udakka Chittang or Pasanna Chittang. None of these will be possible if you have hindrances. Hindrances means the thoughts that you get, not just thoughts. You will have thoughts anyway. You cannot stop thoughts 100%. But if the thoughts are disturbing you, or if, to put it this way, if you disturb the thoughts, then that becomes a problem. Then only you will lose your Kala Chittang, Udhu Chittang, and Udagga Chittang, and Vinivarana Chittang, all that. So when you have developed the 4 mind states mentioned above, you are unaffected by these thoughts, which we call hindrances. And if I name them, the sensual desire is the first one. And the next one is ill will. Next is sloth and torpor, which is drowsiness. And the next is restlessness and anxiety, and the skeptical doubts. So these are the hindrances. I'm not going to go into detail of these things because we have discussed already these things in detail. When your mind is providing themes for tranquility, you are gradually getting away from hindrances. Thoughts may be there, but you don't disturb them. So long as you are not getting close to them, so long as you are not identifying yourself with them, they don't become hindrances. So you feel as if there are no hindrances. So the mind doesn't recognize hindrances because you're so flexible, so well trained, so happy, and hindrances go away. So these are the 5 facets of the mind which give the theme for tranquility. When these things are there, you are providing conditions for tranquility. And when you provide conditions for tranquility, you keep providing that tranquility conditions every time, all the time, as much as possible. Then that is called Samatha Nimitta Yoniso Manasikara Bahuli Karoti. So that is the first nutriment that the discourse is talking about. The second nutriment that the discourse is talking about is the result of it. Sorry, before coming on to that, before coming into the next nutriment, when you provide these conditions, it is giving some sort of a result to your practice, and the result that comes up are balancing of spiritual faculties and powers. Spiritual faculties, did we discuss them? I don't remember whether we discussed. I think we did. There are 5 spiritual faculties, and those spiritual faculties are having specific tasks in the practice. They call it faith, energy, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. So those are the 5 faculties. So as you know, faith is giving one direction, and the wisdom is going on another direction. And if you have a lot of faith, you just do what you are asked to do. But if your wisdom is so high, you don't just do like that, you keep questioning. And similarly, if you are energized, all the time you want to work, all the time you want to see as much information as possible, details as possible when you practice. But when you are concentrated, you can't do that. You just get bogged down in one, get concentrated in one. And mindfulness is just the awareness. So these 5 faculties, and sometimes they develop into powers, which definitely I have discussed in the past. So these are going in 5 directions. So when this theme for tranquility is developed, these faculties will not go in all the directions. They get they don't take their own, what do you call, sub-optimization. They work in harmony with each other. So faith faculty will not try to overpower the other faculties and take faith as the main one. So that is what is usually happening in the society. If you take an organization, the engineers are trying to show that they are doing everything, like Chatu. And the accountants are trying to show that no, engineers are not doing anything and we only handle money. And the marketing guy is trying to say, no, accountants and engineers are useless if we don't market. Right? So drivers are saying, if we don't take the goods to the market, what is the point you guys are there? And the factory workers will say, if we don't work, and everyone will have their own sub-optimization. It's the same thing, even in spiritual faculty. So when this theme of tranquility developing, no one is trying to show their own colors. We understand that all of us are going for one object, or one objective rather. So their faculties are providing only what is necessary to achieve that object. So that is called balancing of spiritual faculty. So that is a result of theme of having theme of tranquility. And another result of that is unification of happiness from all the faculties. So since the faculties are unifying and going towards one objective, and it becomes happier. So in Pali, you call it Indriyanam Ekaraso. And the next result is understanding the magnitude of the energy required. Right? You know, it is not necessary for you to work as hard as you did at the very beginning, because your mind is now flexible enough. Mind is now trained enough. Mind is now prepared enough. Mind is now happy enough. So since all those things were not there, you didn't know what to do. So you practice early morning, you practice in the evening, you practice in the night. Whatever you do, you are mindful. And if you are not mindful, you cry the whole day. That is how you do at the beginning. And you come and ask what to do here, what to do there, and all sorts of lot of energy is exerted in the practice. But over time, you understand this level of energy that is necessary. So it's like when you drive initially, when you are not used to the road, when you are a learner, you're so scared. You hold the steering so tight that even the learner will not be able to take the hand, let you relax the hand. But after some time, and you do make up in the car, and you have a cigarette, and some people are having beer as well, some people are falling as well and meeting with accident, some people are eating in the car and also driving. And once you are skillful, the driver knows how to go, where to go fast, where to slow down, and he understands it. So like that, the energy requirement is magnitude of the energy required is very well understood. And then the next result of this theme of tranquility is understanding the necessary preconditions to be provided. We call it asevanata. So for this tranquility to happen, this is the time, this is the best time. Right, hooray, power came back. This is the best place for me to go and practice. This is the best type of food I should take. So if I take these type of food, and then it is not helping me to practice. So you understand the necessary preconditions. So you know what sleep is required, and all the other understanding of all the other conditions is also a result of theme of tranquility. So therefore, you will be more and more working towards or leaning towards tranquility, and you will be able to provide those themes and foster frequent attention to them. And the next one is non-distraction, which is abhyagga nimitta. I will quickly go through that as well. And here the Blessed One says abhyagga nimitta means non-distraction, theme for non-distraction. So to have the concentration, your distraction should be at minimum, right? So to avoid distraction, the Blessed One has mentioned, keep the surrounding clean, internal and external clean. So usually when you are sweating, you don't go and sit. When you have dirty clothes, you don't go and sit or go into practice. You clean the room, you clean yourself and make the house beautiful, and then go to the place and sit. Then it is very, very, very pleasing for you. You will not have any disturbance from anything, any other thing, right? So it is not to say that everything has to be there, but at least cleaning can be done. There was one monk during Buddha's time, so well practiced, but one day he sat without cleaning. He was not able to sit. So then he realized this is why he's unable to do it, because that comes to mind. I think he was an arahant as well. I exactly don't remember. Then he got up and cleaned his kuti, cleaned his hut, and then sat down. Everything went well. And the other thing required for non-distraction is ability to reach the object skillfully. This is a result of continued, organized, and frequent practice. So if you reach the object very skillfully, despite the distraction, and in other words, if you keep the mindfulness to the fore, if you know that your practice is to improve mindfulness, then you will not fight with the distractions that are coming. If you say, okay, no, I don't want sound, I want only the breath. I don't want any visual object. I want only the walking, attention to walking. Then you are not skillful. You are skillful. You will give priority to the mindfulness, being aware, rather than trying to catch hold of the object. So ability to reach the object here means whatever object that comes your way without fighting, you just skillfully approach. So that is a way that you can avoid distraction. And then the balancing faculties again, spiritual faculties again. So that is also something because now here they are not distractions that is coming from your pain, thoughts, and sounds, etc. Your spiritual faculties themselves will start fighting. So even there, you may feel that you are not faithful enough. You may feel that you are not energized enough. You may feel that you are not concentrated enough. Or you may feel that you are too energized or too concentrated, too faithful, or too wisdom-seeking person. So all these imbalances are distractions, if you feel them. So when these things are coming, and if you just become aware of them, and they don't become distractions, so you will provide conditions for non-distraction. And that provision is coming only by understanding that you practice mindfulness, nothing else mindfulness, which is awareness. So if the awareness is taking the driving seat, distractions are minimal. And that itself is providing a theme or a condition for non-distraction. So the other important point is ability to condemn the deceiving mind. So most of the time, our mind may give us a lot of suggestions to say that your practice is so weak, that your teacher is so weak, that you are not doing things properly, and a lot of suggestions will be there to put you down. So when those thoughts are coming up, you should have the ability to see them and laugh at them. So when the mind is suggesting that you are not practicing enough and you are weak, and if you can, that is not you intentionally do it. It is naturally coming from the mind to put you down. So if you can see that and then have a laugh, that itself is a condemning the deceiving mind. When such mind is appearing, when the mind is suggesting that things are not going right, that itself is a certificate that the mind is that the practice is going right, because the mind is now so helpless. So it's trying to find a reason to put you into trouble. So when you see them, if you don't take them as a distraction, then what you do is you just condemn with a laugh, not that you fight. Right? And then the ability to appreciate the developing mind. And in some of the instances, you may see, okay, I'm seeing all these are distractions, all these are troubles, but I'm happily seeing them and I'm just observing them. And you appreciate that mental state as well. So on one hand, you condemn the deceiving mind. On the other hand, you appreciate the developing of mindfulness. And also, what happens is when mindfulness is developing, you will see lots and lots and lots and lots of your own negativities. You may see that you are so a person with a lot of lust, a lot of hatred, a lot of doubts. You may see the murderer in you. You may see the womanizer in you. You may see the jealousy in you. So when you see those things, if you can understand that you see these things because of your heightened sensitivity, and if you don't get confused with them, and just see that it is also part of your mindfulness, developing mindfulness, and that itself becomes fanning your own mind, right? So these things will take away a lot of distractions that might be there, rising from the practice itself. So those will be providing themes or conditions to have non-distraction. So when you provide those themes of non-distractions and themes for tranquility, and when you keep on doing that over and over again, over and over again, over and over again, and when you get into the deep and bottom layer of them, and if you go to the beginning of those things that happening, any of those things happening, And then what you simply have developed is concentration as a factor for mindfulness. So before I finish the talk today, may you all be able to develop this wonderful concentration, awakening factor to reach the final goal. And blessings of the Noble Triple J.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you have any questions, we can take them. Any comments?
I'll ask a question.
Any? Yeah.
I haven't given a report in a long time, maybe a couple of months. I guess there's two reasons. One, nothing particular is happening that I felt that I could report.
Yeah.
And the second one, which was sort of talked about in this talk, is the best way to put it is my practice this year would have disintegrated. So where previously I had very strict timetable, many hours that I cover within a week. Yeah. Now I'm lucky to cover some hours, and that's only because I have a specific schedule, like tonight, and then Saturday morning, and then maybe Sunday morning. And yeah, I've really struggled to actually do any practice during the week because I've just been busy, which has never happened before. I always kept a very strict timetable. And at the back of my mind, it's like, okay, yes, things aren't going the way you want it to go.
Yeah.
And this is good material for your practice to, develop in other ways. But still, at the back of my mind, I have regret saying, you should have practiced more.
Yeah.
That's all I had to really say. Any comments?
Oh, very, very simple comment. Compare your statement with what I'm going to say now. I'm living in a monastery, and I don't have anything in the sensual world to do, but still I practice only 2 hours. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. The whole morning is going with Bhante for his talks and wonderful discussions with him, and the whole morning. And then after that, we go for Pindapata, and that takes about 2 hours. And then after an hour of rest, then again Bhante's discussion or sermon, if there is a retreat. And then only I will have a couple of hours to practice. And when I finish that, it will be around 6 o'clock, and do some chores around. And then 7:30, I start preparing my talks for 3 or 4 talks that I do weekly. So, but with all that, I don't have any unpleasant mind, unpleasant mentality. So your practice is now going into the next phase. The practice is developed. Once it is developed, it should go to this Kalla Chittang and Mudu Chittang state. So we can't always live our life legs folded and walking. We will have to use this skill that we have learned from those things with that rigorous practice and live our normal life. And a lot of people say, when you organize, I know you're busy with these organizations of many things in my absence. And if you are not there, definitely there is nobody to handle that in Brisbane. There is nobody coming forward and taking that responsibility. And a lot of people think that when we do those things, our practice is going backward. Absolute nonsense. When you do those things, you become more and more, you are living with Dhamma. And your mentality becomes more and more happier and more mindful. And by doing everything, what we expect is undisturbed mind. So as you say, in the back of the mind is somehow or other trying to find some one or the other reason to put us down. And you can see that. But you don't become a victim because you have that awareness already in front, or not only just in front. And as I said in the talk, your sensitivity level is high. When the mind is trying to put you down, you can see it. And since you can see it, it can't come up and put you down. So it is going into the next phase. It is diversifying. Mindfulness is getting diversified. You are living the art of living. You are learning the art of living now using mindfulness. So I say these things because I can give you more work.
It's a good plan.
Yeah, no, I mean that is how it happens. So just don't worry, be happy. That's all.
There was something else I was going to say, but I forgot now. Oh yes, yeah, I am a very happy person. I agree. Although in the past, I really didn't like. I didn't like how much time I spent at work and versus like, let's say, doing mindful activities.
Yeah.
But now I don't really care. But yeah, that was probably my only real source of unhappiness is the materialistic life, which I don't really worry me. It doesn't really worry me too much. But yes, anyway.
Yeah. So that is also very important. So you will have to live in this unhappy life without getting affected. And that is what I was telling Sanjay as well. Yeah, life, so much of trouble in life. But if we can live a way that we are not affected by them, then who cares? I remember a few years ago, I was trying to get you to do some responsibilities in the retreat. And I said, no. I'm coming to retreat only for practice. And you did not get involved in anything. So it's very nice to see that transformation has taken place. So the mindfulness is doing the thing that is necessary. So keep marching, like in Johnny Walker. I know it's not a good example.
Thank you very much, Rate.
No worries, Anybody else?
There's a question here.
I have a small thing to add into that, but my mind also same kind of, it's always trying to shut me down. I have a different reason, like mine saying now, right, you now have like, I had a quite really calm and really, I mean, it's just like I did see things I'd never seen, and kind of I feel that when I listen to you also, I feel that I'm kind of right path, but then all of a sudden that thing is like when I'm developing concentration, I think I try to use it like I have different agendas, like inside in mind, and then I grab more things like, okay, I can do this and that and that, and then I go to same anxiety and all the stressful situation, and then I start feeling that, okay, all the thoughts coming, like it's full chaos, like it's like couldn't control anything, like last couple of days, a lot of thoughts, and then the body tightening and all these things, pains. Actually, I can see that now, when the body, like especially pain, it gives me a warning sign, like, okay, you're going in wrong path again. But that cycle is, I think, happens if I try to recall, like last couple of years, like last couple of, at least far as I remember, this is happening, and what I could do. I'm not getting away from this. Like, I know that I have so many reasons. I have kids, and I have to do this and that, and I have to give them a better life, and yeah, there are millions reasons, and that's the, I need advice, like what I should do, what I should practice to get away from this cycle.
Yeah, you can't give those reasons to me. I also had same amount of kids, same combination, and I have gone through that. So so it's not something new to me. With all that, it is very much possible to walk on this path. And you gave the reason, and your, as I have said in the past as well, your practice is going well, but certain experiences, you started with saying you have not experienced the things that you haven't seen, or something like that, something to that effect. And that is a misunderstanding. When you say that you feel body tightening and those sensations of pains, etc., coming, and that is the thing that you had not seen in the past, but you're expecting something else instead. From the path, what we try to understand first is the truth of suffering. So when you're mindful of your thoughts, and that very mindfulness is getting manifested, the thoughts are coming to disturb you, and when you're mindful, those thoughts are not moving or proceeding. So as a result, they get manifested or reflected on your body. When it is reflected on the body, that is again another opportunity for you to get very close to your body. Instead, it appears from the talk that you don't like it, you try to avoid it. And that is where the Yoniso Manasikara is. That is why Buddha said, keep the mindfulness to the fore, having the body as the focal point. Because any mental state has got to come and stage the drama on the body. Body is the stage where all these things are acting upon. So therefore, you're mindful of your pain, you're mindful of your mental state. But once your mindfulness is successful, there will have a reflection on the body. And that reflection is not easy, because we are taking negativities out. So it is tightening, it is shivering, sometimes it is piercing, sometimes it is like stabbing, and a lot of unpleasant sensations. That's the Yoniso Manasikara, and get close to it and be very firm and get as close as possible and observe happily, willingly, voluntarily. And those factors are yet to come into that state. But what appears to me is you try to avoid those things happening. Then it is a trap.
Yeah, it's true actually. It's like, when you lose the comfort, you don't like it. You just
So you are practicing with some predetermined agenda.
Yeah, that was always there. I think I frankly knew that, but for some reason, this path is like it always, even if I go in a different tracks, still keep me into this pathway. And but the thing is, yeah, when I lose comfort, or otherwise I'm coming here to get the comfort, and then if I'm not getting it, and I get away from meditation, and then all of a sudden I couldn't manage things, and then I come back, and that's that's the path probably. I don't know. Kind of I want to gauge
The
the.
only thing you will have to do is you'll have to get out of this achieving goals mentality, and you will have to simply have the mentality of maintaining awareness, being aware. That's all, and just be happy about it. And when you have developed mindfulness to this state, you can't go out of it. You can't go back. If you go back, that is the easiest way to 134 bus. You know what I mean?
I didn't get it. Sorry.
That is the easiest way to 134 bus.
Hmm.
Bus going to Angoda.
That's right. And yeah,
Just don't have any objective to achieve. Just be aware and be happy about being aware.
yeah, and it's all about my life is achieving goals. Like I don't know, I was trained like that, and being
Yeah. I mean, it's very good that you see it now. That this is how I have been brought up, and that is how you get out of your negativity. By mindfulness is letting you to see your own defilement, and when you see your defilement, you should not react to it. Just happily with a smile, keep observing.
yeah. Thank you, Bhante.
No worries.
All right.
Everyone's having
Everyone's
Pasanna chitta. Anybody else? All right. If there are no other comments, and I would like to have a report from Tracy next week. So,
Do you mean Trish?
Trish, sorry. Next week, not now. So
She looks scared.
just to see how things are going on.
I have been listening to all of your wisdom, and I absolutely take on about the concentration. And I become aware at times my concentration is really poor and I've got to work on it. So I'm getting that awareness. So yeah.
So we will listen to you in more detail next week. All right. Now we can share the merits, positive energies that we have generated today from this practice and the talk. Again, apologies for joining a little late. Can I kindly request Chatu to lead, because my computer is down, so I can't see the papers.